Okay, time for another adventure in game development. This time I have created basically a pretty big game. It's more like a prototype, but a pretty polished prototype. So maybe like an alpha. It's got a lot of balancing to do, but this game is heavily inspired by MapleStory and a bunch of other games I love to play, but mainly inspired by MapleStory. So to get into it, I think first thing we'll do is just try to run it. And so it's called PartyQuest for now, title pending. It is online multiplayer up to 4 people. And the networking is peer-to-peer, so there's no centralized server other than matchmaking. And yeah, so there's a lot in development. What you see here is very much a prototype. Everything will probably change, maybe even the art, depending how far I continue this project. I am thinking about continuing it, but yeah, so to just get started, it is an adventure platformer, and for the sake of this video, I won't really be starting from the very beginning. I kind of cheated to demonstrate some things. You can see I'm already level 5 here. And it's not exactly a MapleStory clone, because with MapleStory there's a lot of grinding, and I kind of like that, but I also don't like it when it gets like really hard. And I also think a game like MapleStory is meant to kind of like live on forever, where I'd like my game to have an end point where you can grind as much as you like, but like once you beat the final boss, it's kind of like over. And then maybe there's other fun things to do, but that's about it. So the game features very basic collision and pixel art. The collision is basically just like box collision. It also features a full dialogue engine that I have written a custom programming language or scripting language to power it, which I'll go over in a separate video on the technical side of things. But here you can see that there's some dialogue that you can go through, and it prints out character by character. This NPC is just kind of like an intro to the game. And so, she wants you to go through and, go through the tutorial. So the tutorial is very simple. Campfires here. I quickly went through the text there, but this is how you save your game. You can also craft some basic items here as well. Crafting takes a big part in the game, but campfires are just meant as like a save point where you can rest and save your game. If you die, you'll spawn back at the last campfire, but you'll lose all the progress that you made. So any items that you collected and any experience that you gained, all of that is reset since your last campfire. The other way it's a little different is the class system currently is based off weapons. Kind of inspired this from Monster Hunter, where the gameplay style that you choose is based off the weapon that you choose, which you'll see in a second. So here we just got some basic dummy. There's also breakable environments and drops that you pick up, so it's kind of like a loot game. And then just like MapleStory, there's portals to travel to different maps. And then here we just have a basic map with our first enemy, which is just a zombie. So as you can see, as I am attacking these zombies, they take damage and there's recoil. They also react, if you hit them, they'll turn around and try to attack you. As you can see, as I kill more zombies, the little blue bar goes up for my experience. So that's kind of like the introduction area. And we'll just skip over it for now, since that's all it is. It's really just a little intro world to introduce the player to the world. So if we go back to Furrow here, she's like, oh, you're level 2. The whole point of this little world is get your first level, and then you're out of there. Would you like to get out of here? You say yes. So the dialogue engine's really awesome, and so I've been able to script it with all the other features of my game, which has like teleportation and other things like that. So anything I need to add to the dialogue engine is very easy to do. So here you can see that we've appeared in a little town, which I decided to call Lure Lane Village. And there's some other NPCs here. So here, we have the cook. The cook can cook various different meals. So you got like a rice ball, and all these items you can see here are requirements. Obviously, there's a UI problem, but we'll ignore that. Vegetable soup has different boosts and stuff like that, and has different requirements. So kind of like in Breath of the Wild, Zelda games, and other games, they have cooking. And also Monster Hunter, they all have cooking as like kind of a feature of their game, which I really liked. So I thought it'd be cool, instead of having just like potions, you'd have different meals that you can create, and they'd have different effects. Obviously, there'll be basic meals that just heal you, and for some characters that'll be good, but other ones might want like magic ones, or that increase your magic meter or your stamina meter, those kind of things, or buffs, that kind of thing. Here, is an example of the craft menu. Again, this is the basic adventure equipment that you can craft. So you start as an adventure, but there are 3 classes in this game. So there's the knight, the archer, and the mage, and the class you play just depends on the weapon you equip. So in order to change your weapon, you have to do it at a campsite. You can't just change it in the middle of the game. I kind of got that inspiration a little bit from like Dark Souls and other games, kind of like save point dependent. So you go out on adventures, and then every so often there'll be a checkpoint like of campfires along the way. And then, in the game, what I'd like there to be is like there's a bunch of bosses that you have to fight, and then there's also these sages. I call them sages, or like blacksmiths or something, but they have the ability to craft. This is the bow sage, and like you have to be level 5, and then you can craft all the bows, right? And they'll have those kind of things. So that's how you get better gear that's specialized. And then there's different areas, one for the bow, one for the knight, so the archer, the knight, and the mage. So here you can see there's a bunch of different bows that you can craft. And they all need balancing, so yeah. But in order to demonstrate some of the class changing, so here we have 3 different weapons. So if I equipped the Scarlet Blade, you can see that my class changed to knight. And the other thing that I did is that I now have these skills available. So I have Holy Blade, Holy Sword, Holy Shield, and Holy Light. So, and then you can assign these to your skill slots. And you can only have 4 equipped at a time, because this game is also controller based. So, the 1, 2, 3, 4, those buttons actually translate to the controller joystick, which would be the quadrants of the joystick. So it'd be top, bottom, left, right kind of thing. And so I can use these attacks as well. So there's an example of one. I might have to turn off some the cost thing to show them all, but I'll do that in another video or maybe a promotional thing. But this just kind of demonstrates the class changing here. So then if I change Mage, you know, it changes like the character's look entirely, which is not something I actually wanted. I want to have like one character sprite that just has you know, actions for everything, for like casting magic and stuff like that, and then that character sprite can be customized later as well. Because what I'd like to also have is I like to have future classes which can mix and match different skills as well. Kind of like in Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff like that. Like you have the knight or like the berserker or the dragoon or the ninja, and they can all kind of share different skills. And so the mage is pretty cool. It has like a fire attack. And then you also have the bow, and then it has a centaur character, and like the bow can fire, you know, fire arrows, obviously. So here, I don't know if, yeah. So now I'll just demonstrate the rest of the world. So there's, this is the starting village after you go through the tutorial. Lure Lane Village, you know, welcome to Lure Lane Village. Then you have, just kind of like in MapleStory, you just have like all these training grounds and stuff like that that you can explore and go through. So we'll just go through here quickly. Whoa. And so there is, you know, there's a dash ability, which I think needs some tweaking. But then there's also a desert area here. The other cool thing is that you can get a double jump ability. So there is a lot of like ways to customize the gameplay through equipment. So there is an item that gives double jump. There's other things that could, like, you know, increase your movement speed, those kind of things. So there's lots of different ways to change this game. So yeah, so this would be the Night Sage, you know, has the swords kind of thing. Very simple idea here. And then the other thing is that everything is kind of like platform based. Oh, I died. So I can return to the campfire. Oh, that'll just go back there. So that'll need to be fixed. That goes there. And so you have more meadow areas. And we'll just quickly go through here. And then we have a jungle area. And so you can obviously tell if you've played MapleStory where these locations are inspired by. So I kind of really just like that game. There we go. So this map is obviously a work in progress because there's no enemies on it. But yeah, this would be the little forest town where the mage would be. Also, a lot of this art is actually like not. Well, all the NPC art actually is kind of just taken from online. Everything else is allowed to be used, but I'll have to change a lot of it, or pay somebody to create new art for this. And so here's would be the mage. Sage as well. So there's a lot of things that can be done in order to fulfill this game further. This is kind of as far as I got. It's taken me quite a bit. So yeah, that's kind of like the game by itself. What's really cool is that unlike other games where like it's multiplayer, like MapleStory, this game you can play by yourself offline, so you don't need internet connection at all. But when you do want to play with your friends, and you have the internet available, you play your game and make your own progress, but you can play it with them. So it's kind of the same way that like an MMO works, where like you just have NPCs and you do quests and stuff like that, and it's kind of generic and boring, but it's still fun. The fun part is like the platforming and the gameplay, and like taking down bosses with your friends. Your quest lines and stuff like that are all isolated to your own player. So what you experience in the world is kind of like isolated to you. Which means it's like kind of difficult to design around, or that is a design problem that you have to think about. When I made the game, is like, well, we can only do certain things and that kind of thing, because obviously like if a player edits the terrain in their game, but you haven't done that quest line or something like that, or haven't activated that thing, then it wouldn't show up in yours. So that's just kind of like the way they have to kind of think about designing a game like this. So I'm just gonna save my progress there, and then I'm just going to quit, and then I'm going to demonstrate the online capabilities now. So let's go to, and then I do host, and then I set that there. So this will start a session, and it will talk to the matchmaking server, and we'll now be able to, your friend will be able to join. And to simulate this during testing, I just open up another instance of the game, and I have to type in the correct host name. And up here, and host and join. Let's go to, and this should work. If it doesn't work, then oops. So there. So yeah, so now it's multiplayer. So technically you and your friends can go around and play different classes, or all the same class, and you can take down the boss together, which is a lot of fun. It's always a lot more. Oh, I broke the game. That's fine. It's always more fun to play with friends. So, that was kind of like the whole point, is to kind of recreate that MapleStory experience, but kind of make it a little bit more modern, even though it doesn't look modern at all. Although it is very nice pixel art. But yeah, so the cool thing with multiplayer is that it's GGPO based, so it has rollback technology, which I didn't actually program that. The game is entirely its own engine. I had a friend who did the programming. So if I'm here, they can be in another map, and you guys can actually go and play different parts of the world and play separate games almost, like, and do separate things, but you can just still be in the same realm, I guess. I mean, it's not as fun, obviously, but that's a possibility. Like, you can be across different maps, which is helpful. So if you want to jump on Discord with your buddies, or whatever voice speak thing that you want, you can do that, and then you guys can just chill out and play together, that kind of thing. So yeah, so now it just kind of works similar to like how MapleStory works, which is really cool. So yeah, that's kind of like it for multiplayer. There's like not a lot else other than that. Yeah, so I will make a technical video on like how other things work in the game. And I think one other thing to kind of say about this is, let's just check if this crashes. So this player should disappear. Yeah, they disappear, and then I should crash. Like, or maybe I don't crash. Maybe I fix that. Either way. What's cool about this is, unlike other games where you have a fixed resolution for pixel art, now it looks kind of broken, but this automatically scales based on like whatever resolution you put it in, which is kind of nice. So you can have like kind of any kind of game resolution that you want. Yeah. So just do that. Yeah, it just auto scales, which is nice. So you can have it, which is nice for like different games, because I really don't like black bars on my game. So like, what's interesting is if you have like 1080p screen, which is a 16:9 ratio, right? And then you have a 3:2 ratio. Those should still be fine, right? Like my screen here is a 3:2, so I really like it when. That's why the UI is kind of like looks a little bit wonky. It's 3:2 is a lot taller than 16:9. So if I change that, it like looks. Oh, look at that! The UI it scales properly. Yeah. So that's kind of like the benefit to that. I don't think there's like that big of a advantage. This game is probably gonna be like super prone to like custom modding, hacking, everything, which is totally fine. It's not really kind of meant to be a game where you can't do that. I think more power to people that want to do that and play with it. Just don't ruin other people's experiences, which, since it is a game that you just play with your friends and it's not an MMO, that's totally fine. You play with the people that you want to play with, and you just have a good time. So if you want to mod it, you want to hack it, and you want to play around with it, go for it, and you and your friends can have a ton of fun. So that's PartyQuest. Very simple MapleStory inspired game that I built over the past few months. I'd say it's around 5 months, kind of like on and off. But yeah.